guys? My name is Spencer, this is SMB Garage. I'm back finally. Haven't made a video in a long time and I'm sorry about that. Been busy with school, work, that sort of stuff. And I literally haven't been able to touch this car. Unfortunately, because I've been so close to actually getting it running and I just haven't been able to work on it. But we're back today, we're working on the shifter. Yeah, basically I screwed stuff up, so let me just show you guys. So if you guys have been watching for a while, you know that I made this shifter linkage, and this is just sort of the rough cut of it all. And then I also made the box, shifter box dealio in an episode. And basically I'm keeping this because I like it, and it's gonna work. But basically all this has to go. I totally screwed it up like an idiot, and basically, let me show you. If I went, basically the way I had it set up, which I don't know how I got this wrong because I'm pretty sure I checked it like 10 times, but I guess not. Say I went to the left and up with the shifter. I didn't end up in first gear like I should have. It was actually putting me into reverse. So it was all backwards. And I honestly have no idea how I got it wrong. This isn't how this whole linkage setup was originally. This is actually flipped, so this crank was like that. And either way, it's screwed. So my solution is gonna be, instead of having this bell crank and this stuff, I'm gonna make it a little more simple. So this, essentially this, instead of having it horizontal, I'm gonna make it vertical. And then the cable for the left and right motion, which it does this, that's all it does, that small amount of movement, is going to be coming from this side, so it will push and pull a lever essentially like this. And then that is what will give me the left and right motion. The in and out motion, it's good, it's going to stay the same. All I need to adjust is the left and right. So I'm going to start tearing this apart. I'm going to make this piece first, the part that drops down. And then once I'm done with that, I'll start making the bracket for the cable itself to sit within. Now it sort of sucks that I screwed up this part like I did, but it was a learning experience. I just learned how big of an idiot I am and that I should never trust myself. So let's start cutting this thing up. Probably got just enough gas just to do this one job. So let's get to it. Remember kids, safety third. Doesn't work like that. Gotta turn the welder on first. You know, usually my welds are similar to Av's. As he says, a grinder and paint makes the welder I ain't. And not this time, this actually came out pretty clean. So, I'm happy with that. I also trimmed off this piece. So, let's go through, actually, I'm gonna drill a bunch of holes in it first. And then we can throw it on the car and start making the bracket for the cable to sit in. Alright, so this piece is basically perfect with the lower hole on there. Basically, the left to right motion that it has is about 1.5 inches. And the entire motion that the shifter produces, moving left and right, is about 2 inches total. So it won't be using the entire range of motion of the shifter. It would have to be like another 1.5 inches or so to do that, but that's fine. So I'm gonna go clean this up a bit and then bolt it on, and then once it's bolted on I can make a bracket for the actual cable to sit in, and then we can sort of hook it up and test it all out. So essentially the angle I'm going for is the cable up like this, so that I got a forward cable angle already going, so that because I mean this cable has to go into the cab of the car, as well as keeping it close to the transmission, because I'm going to use essentially something just like this. This was for the bell crank system before, but I'm just using it, to demonstrate for now. Just like this, except flipped, and then this will angle out, and then that will. So basically, the cable will go through a hole that I make on the plate that bolts to here, and that's what'll keep it rigid. Nice small piece so that there's not any flex in it, introducing slop into the system. So I'm going to use this as my template for the holes and stuff, cut it out nice and big so I have a lot of material to work with, and then bring it back over here, figure out the bends and everything that I need to do in the metal. I'll just bend it in the vise like I did with this guy, and then get to work, start putting it together. So I'm starting to see a trend of this episode of me doing dumb stuff, and this time I realized that this part that I was going to try to replicate I can actually use. All I had to do was cut a notch in it instead of having that small hole, and bend that out a little bit. It was 90 degrees, now it's at like 70, I don't know, something like that. Whatever works, right? So I just notched it out and now it works. So let's go bolt it up to the car and see if it actually looks any good. So I spent like the past half hour fine-tuning this shifter setup and everything. Sort of messing with it, making sure it wasn't binding or anything, so let me show it to you. Alright, let's see. So we got a lot going on here. This right here is our left to right movement, and obviously this is all rough cut. It's gonna get made pretty and stuff later. So that's the left to right movement cable, and that moves this guy back and forth. And then right here we have our front and back cable. Real simple. I may end up adjusting this a bit because this is binding out and making it a little bit tough to go left to right on the shifter. So I think a little bit of a bend on this would clean it up, or even straighten out that bend a bit more, as in make it more like this. So that'll be simple. And then I've got this little setup in order to like test it without having to weld this into the car. So we've got our stays for the cables, and then they hook up just to the shifter I built. So you can see I can shift it. It's sort of tough even. I gotta sort of stand on it to really test it out, but it shifts. So yeah, this is gonna be the setup I go with. Just like this. I'm gonna continue messing with it tonight. Let's see, lighting. There we go. That's good enough. I'm gonna continue messing with it tonight, making sure none of that stuff is binding up. Whenever those cables bind up like that, they just become super hard to actually move in and out, and therefore the shifter gets like really stiff, I guess. Hard to shift. So yeah, let me finish that up, and then I may come back to you guys. I don't know how much time I have. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on messing with it though. So guys, on that, I'm gonna end the video off. I've been messing with it a little bit more. For the most part, I basically have just been doing slight bends and everything to all the mounts of the cables and where they actually attach. What that is doing is making sure nothing is binding, and now, as it sits now, I can shift into all the gears pretty easily, and they're all lined up to where the left to right is. The shifter goes to the left about the same amount as it goes to the right, that sort of deal. I'll have to redo it all once it's in the car. I just wanted to make sure that the setup that I have works before I start mounting it in the car. I would put it all in the car right now, but like I said earlier, I don't have my drill, so I can't drill the holes in the car to have the cables come out, so it would be sort of a waste of time. So look forward to that next time. I'll probably be working on the shifter next time. I'm happy just because I've been getting progress on this. I've been stuck on this freaking shifter for so long. I've been working on it a bunch off film, and basically been just doing a bunch of redundant work, doing stuff that isn't working out. So I'm super stoked to have finally figured out what I'm doing with the shifter and to get it mounted in the car, because that's one of the last biggest things that I'd left before I can just put it all together and try to drive it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. I know I've been gone for like a month and I gained a whole bunch of new subscribers, so you guys are awesome. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. You're going to want to, because this thing's going to be a monster once it's running. And like this video if you enjoyed it. Thanks guys a bunch. Have a good one. Peace.